Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God Chapter 445, or Season 3 Episode 28. And this is another one like Chapter 443 where I actually, going back rereading this and stuff, and even my first time reading it, I think, when I did the live reaction, I kind of loved this one. I liked it a lot. It was kind of short, mostly a combat chapter, but again, I kind of appreciate that. But yeah, so many characters were just really cool in this chapter that, I don't know, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. There's not many notes here because it is a pretty simple, straightforward combat chapter. But man, it was a really cool one. I really liked this one. So starting off from the beginning to discuss this, White is so badass. I love that White just mops the floor with these two rankers that we saw fighting Liroro and Quant back in the workshop battle. And so, oh man, he's just so cool. Where he's like lecturing the guy as he fights him, like you don't dodge swords, you read them. And then his line where he's like, you think you blocked that, and then he gets his arm cut off. Oh my god, it's so good. But we see the red, we don't have a name for the Red Witch yet, the one that's presumably the guide, at least presumably, for Khel Hellam, but we see their ability, the flow-bending blue sapphire fish, which seems to be the way that they... At first it seemed like, oh, because they were the one that brought up, you burned up the different paths we made, maybe they're the one that was, while Khel Hellam used his arrows, they used their power to make the arrows bend in all these different ways. That would make sense, but then again, Khel Hellam sort of uses the same thing again against Yama later on without the Red Witch around, so maybe she had nothing to do with how that actually worked. Yeah, either way though, she is really cool in that this is one of the only times I can think of where we have a specific power that's sort of a kind of specific counter for a certain type of enemy. Like, her ability isn't super OP, but it's specifically very good at fighting against wave controllers, because wave controllers use spells and Shinsu-based attacks that can just be redirected away. So she has kind of a hard counter ability to a specific type of fighter, which is really cool. Madarako arrives where they are, and the only thing I was thinking throughout, like a lot of this chapter, whenever we saw this group at least, is, where the fuck's Death Lady? Death Lady should have wiped the floor with Madarako. Where on earth is she? And she doesn't even arrive behind him at any point this chapter. Also, the comedy bit, maybe it's just not maybe the comedy just doesn't translate well into English, but the comedy bit there with them really didn't work for me. And then, as they all have their comedy bit going on, White, just blows through the roof, saying, man, I just ate those two freaking rankers and everything, and it's so good. White is so cool. I love White so much. He's probably my favorite character, but Yama's climbing up there pretty quickly. So we see back with Yama and Khel Hellam's group, everything going on there. Yama goes in to attack while Khel Hellam's trying to recover from the spear that just pierced his side at the end of last chapter. Karaka uses that sort of distraction to throw Bomb and Rack toward Doom, and we have some really badass and really good combat art of Yama and Khel Hellam. I really liked both of them and the way they looked in all this art towards the middle of the chapter, and then again towards the end, I think again. But Rack finds the spear that was thrown, and Bomb confronts Doom in there. Khel Hellam then tries to use the arrows like he did before to create the pathways to stall Yama, basically being like, if you interfere with one of the arrows, it's going to send you around in a trip, and he pretty much uses them as a shield to buy him some time, but it doesn't work because Evankhel shows up and burns the arrow pathways away. From there, we have Khel Hellam summoning the cow Susanoo. It was really cool because Siyu took the time in this chapter and in next chapter to make it seem like a big deal. To make it seem like it's not just that he's summoning this cow Susanoo around himself, but it's affecting, like, everyone is feeling this huge weight and pressure on them just from his Shinsu, from his power. So it really, again, like I've said, just the little details with Khel Hellam ever since he was introduced, from the echoey looking dialogue boxes to the way his powers are meant to look sort of intimidating. CU has really gone through this sort of effort to make Khel Hellam feel important, to make them feel different. And I really appreciate that. I think it's been really well done, because Khel Hellam seems really powerful and really important. Also, I put in my notes here that I love Karaka, I really do, but seeing the abilities of, like, Yama and Khel Hellam and Khel makes Karaka just seem so sort of underwhelming or underpowered. It's this really cool thing where I love, like, Yuri and Karaka. They're both incredibly powerful and they have really cool abilities and everything. And they're around, like, what, the 500-ish mark? And then we see these people that are like top 100, because if Doom's top 100, then Yama's gotta be like way up there. Then we see these people that are like definitely top 100, these incredibly powerful people like Khel Hellam and Khel and Yama, and it just shows you how as badass and OP as like Karaka and Yuri are, there's just this whole other level above them that's complete insanity. So I really, really do love it. And it makes me think, too, if Khel Hellam is maybe close to Yama level at least, why isn't Khel Hellam a Slayer? I get Khel because Khel's not the type to want to be a Slayer, but it almost makes me wonder, why isn't Khel Hellam a Slayer himself? Because... So that makes me think, I guess ancient powers can't break the immortality, or else Khel Hellam would be a Slayer, you would think, as strong as he appears to be. So yeah, I guess that's not an exception to the immortality that the 10 family heads in Zahard have, the ancient powers, because if it was, then logically Khel Hellam should already be a Slayer himself. But either way, oh, and White too, I mentioned in my notes too, compared to like White even, I sort of feel like Karaka feels underpowered. But yeah, that's actually where we end. Yeah, we get cut off by Khel Hellam summoning the Susanoo. All the other stuff is next chapter, which I'll get into a review directly after this one. I actually feel like I'm going to be posting this one the night I'm recording it, so you might be seeing this one tonight and then the next chapter's review tomorrow morning, or if you're not seeing this until the morning on Friday, I guess, then the next one will be out just sometime after this. But either way, some blog information and stuff. CU brings up that something we kind of already knew, that White is a regular, but with high ranker capabilities. But the drawback to him having the high ranker capabilities is the way he just plops asleep and runs out of energy and stuff. So, again, I think that's cool. And he also mentions that White is a character that's still growing. And I like that too, because White, I was saying, feels sort of like... not anymore, but at least on the Hell Train and on the Floor of Death and stuff, White really felt like a rival character to Bomb. Somebody who's going to be his enemy sometimes, going to be his friend sometimes, but as we go up the tower, we're going to see White as sort of almost a rival type character to Bomb. And in the last station and here, he feels a bit less like that. But I don't know, I still like the concept of him growing to the point where when we reach the 100th floor, it's either going to be one of two things. Either this is going to be the moment where White turns things around, is like, you know what, Bomb, I will just suck it up and be your ally for realsies, not just because the conscience of my head is telling me to, and he defeats Hone there, and that's sort of the White character arc. Or White is going to finally reach the place where his father is, take the special test on the 100th floor, and still fail, and Bomb's going to be the one to pass the special test from Hone. And then, of course, maybe like endgame with 10 family heads versus Bomb's group. Maybe at that point White'll fight Hone for real again. But who knows? I like the idea that White is a character that CU isn't like, okay, they're at their limit, they are what they are, like some of the Strong characters like Khel, I don't think Khel's a character that's still growing. I don't think Sung is a character that's still growing. I think they'll develop throughout the series, but we've sort of come into their characters at sort of a peak in their power where they are as strong as they're going to be pretty much. But I like the idea that White is still a character like Bomb's group that's still growing and still has story to be told and a way to get stronger throughout the series. Also, Tsuyu brings up that for the next few chapters it's going to be mostly fight scenes and chaos coming up, which I'm excited for. So yeah, thoughts as a whole for this one. It was just, like I said at the beginning, a straightforward combat chapter, and I actually really loved it. I am bummed out at one thing, and that's that Death Lady never showed up with the Madarako group thing. So yeah, Death Lady just getting like randomly disappearing into nowhere. Yeah, that's the one little nitpick, but I don't really hold it against the chapter. I'd still give it 9 Calcesanuo out of 10. I really, really, really liked it. And I think most of me liking it comes from the hype and appreciation I have surrounding Khel and Khel Hellam and Yama and White. They're still characters that I really like. Even though the side characters have had lots of times when they've been getting less attention, there are still side characters that I absolutely love and enjoy the direction of for the series. So yeah, 9 out of 10. I really loved it, and I hope you enjoyed the chapter, of course, but the video too. So like if you did like it, and comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter and what you thought of my thoughts on it and all that. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, keep it going, help me out personally, I guess, on Patreon, so that I can keep trying to improve things and do the best I can, then link to the Patreon will be in the description. It really definitely does help. And if you don't feel like going to the link in the description, it's patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes. Or if you want to talk to me on Twitter or Discord, then follow on Twitter. Link to that is always in the description too. Or if you want to link to the Discord server, just ask for a link. I don't keep like a permanent link so that people couldn't just like spam in and join with multiple different accounts if they were just like trying to spam it or anything. I just like give out sort of links to whoever asks. But yeah, it's free and open for anyone, so if you do want a link to the Discord server, just ask. I can give you one. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.